So when we think about the concept of attachment, right, that's the idea that a little one, I mean, all of us, but it starts in our infancy, right, need relationships where we feel safe, where we feel that we can show up with our feelings, our needs, that those will be met and understood, and also that, we will be protected from the outside world. So we sort of need that feeling of I'm safe in this relationship, but also I'm safe in the world. And that's what attachment relationships really are for, is for maintaining safety. They have a biological basis and an evolutionary basis, but fundamentally sort of caregivers and their little ones being able to co-create a sense of like, what do I need to be safe? When we look at parents who've had their own experiences of not being cared for in an attachment relationship that's been safe and healthy, and then some parents, right, are able to care for their children in ways that are safe and healthy and attuned and emotionally responsive, and we're like, well, how does that happen? How does it happen that sometimes that cycle gets broken? And when we talk to enough parents and watch enough parents and videotape enough parents, we actually have found some of the answers to that. And one of the things that we found is that parents who have that capacity to use those tools about, well, what's going on inside me? What do I notice? And then what do I notice about the child in front of me? To hold that child in mind and to hold them their own selves in mind. We call it mind-mindedness. Parents who have that are the parents who are best able to break the cycle.
When we talk about attachment theory, when we talk about helping parents to build attachment with their kids, the first thing that we're doing is for people who haven't experienced that kind of secure attachment as children themselves, or because of their substance use, their attachment relationships with their families were damaged in some ways, we're helping to build relationships with them that are kind of modeling what safe, healthy attachment looks like. We operate in community, we grow in community, we grow through our relationships, and this program is really a relational one. And it's about relational healing, because a lot of the harms that the parents in our program experienced themselves growing up, they were breaches of their relationships. What we get to do both with our peer staff and with our clinicians is some of that relational repair through being the people who will show up and support them regardless of what's going on, who will have trust in them, who will be trustworthy. They can experience with us that secure base of being able to come back and know that our staff are there with them, whether that's texting many times, a week, or going places with them, or, whatever it is that is going to help them feel safe and secure. And then they're able to go out in their own lives and kind of explore in the world and know that they have the base to come back to, and then they're able to do that same thing with their children. And I think that's really the way that we heal relationships. If we don't feel safe in the world, we're not going to have healthy relationships.
When we think about helping parents understand what their children need, one of the evidence-based interventions that we've built this program on is called Circle of Security Parenting. And the nice thing about this curriculum is it's really a very straightforward way of helping parents think about attachment needs. So attachment being a little one's need to feel like I can explore my world and it's exciting and it's safe enough to do that. And when I need some reassurance or when things aren't safe or I'm overwhelmed, you'll be right here giving me what I need.
Circle of Security Parenting that helps our participants recognize how they were parented and how that indeed is flowing into how they parent. And they recognize some things that happened, some behavioral patterns that happened between them and their parents that were not helpful. And then they find that, I want to do things differently. We examine and explore all those factors, and that in itself is going to mean that they're going to raise their children differently. And so that's breaking the cycle right there.
How do people think in an easy way about the fact that everybody really needs to have a secure base to work from, and then we go out and then we come back and we touch base? And I think that that's what our participants often do. It's what they do when they re-enroll in the program. People knowing that there's a place that they can come back to regardless of what's happening in their lives is, I think, incredibly important to the sense of attachment and security that they need to go out and live their lives in recovery.
We use an evidence-based intervention called Mothering from the Inside Out. Let's focus on the inside out part. I need to understand my own insides before I can give that out. And again, kind of this idea that as a clinician and as a maternal recovery specialist or a family recovery specialist, I want to give my clients the message that their insides really matter, and then that helps them to be able to go and give that to their little ones.
The Mothering from the Inside Out intervention and working on reflective capacity is really for people to be able to think about, how do my feelings and thoughts differ from those of my child or those of my partner, and then also thinking about the origins of that. thinking about the origins of why I might have the thought processes that I do, and to be able to understand some of that generational transfer of thinking and of feelings, and how what I experienced as a child might be impacting, the way that I'm interpreting my child's behavior. We think about the fact that recovery is not just for the parents, but it's for the family unit. It's that recovery is also an intergenerational aspiration for us. So we see this as a 2-generation model, but it can be a 3-generation model or more.
What it can really do is disrupt the intergenerational transmission of difficult, problematic attachment patterns when we know that parents need to be able and want to be able to do better for their children than maybe what they had.